5th, right around the corner from us at Progressive Field. Our suite here is it's a ghost town, even more than it usually is, because today was the iHeart Cleveland staff outing to the Guardians game.
Oh.
So that's why there's no one here.
You kept saying everyone was at the Guardians game, and I was like, oh, good for them. Like, how did they all... You didn't say it was a combined effort. It was organized.
Well, I mean, yeah. Does that make a difference?
I mean...
You thought everybody was playing hooky.
I mean, kind of.
Well, guess what? Technically, they are. Except us. Are we, Bill, playing hook? Did you go, by the way?
No, I did not go.
Oh, I was going to say.
I was going to go, but I just got busy doing other things. And by the time I was about ready to, it was already 1 o'clock. So I'm like, I'm not going to worry about it.
Well, 3-0 top of the 5th right now.
Yay.
You will hear the Cavaliers in their must-win situation tonight back here at home over at the Romo Fijo. You'll hear that here on MMS tonight. That is a 7 o'clock tip-off. The Knicks, of course, lead that series 3-1. So the Cavs must win tonight. Cavs coach DZ Flirty Twerk says that he expects a lot more from all the guys than he saw their last time out.
Way to go, coach. Good job. That'll get them going.
Well, it really...
Do better.
Yeah, do better.
Do better.
Guys,
Yeah.
I don't...
Let's do better for the Cavs.
Again, I don't understand fully what a coach's job is in the professional sporting arena, if you will. You have a lot of, it's a constant, it's a revolving door of people who are at the top of their game. Yeah, you're going to have some young guys that you're going to try to point in a direction, and your job is to kind of herd those cats and get them to all gel together. But every team, if you're lucky, has got one or two outliers that don't need the guy in the suit with the clipboard to tell them how to play the game. So, I guess there are obviously some coaches that are more tuned in to what that winning mindset is than others. But I don't know what Flirty Twerk's doing over there.
See,
you can't really lay that at his feet.
What you should do is be a great coach like Phil Jackson, where he decided that he's just going to coach guys like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal, and it made him look like a really good
really
coach.
smart guy. Yeah. But didn't he coach the Knicks? Or he was the GM or something?
He was the GM, and he had no Kobe Bryant, he had no Michael Jordan,
and they stunk.
Go great.
That's right. I'll have another $1,000 for you in about 6 or 7 minutes. Listen for those keywords because they're coming once an hour to get a grand courtesy of the Buzzard bookie. Anyway, Guardians are playing right now. Do the Guardians have a designated Hitler? Is that somebody that they have on staff over there?
I think Josh Bell is their
designated
Hitler.
Designated hitter. Oh, I see.
Designated Hitler. Designated hitter looking to get aboard. Sorry about that, folks.
I was reading about this guy who named his kid Hitler, and he's frankly tired of being mocked. He's tired of being treated like garbage.
Did you say and frankly?
And frankly, I'm glad you caught that. And frankly, he is tired. And I love to...
Is he going to tell us about his struggle?
Probably, yeah. These Nazi douchebags who always have to give themselves really, really grand-sounding names, like their name is like Trevor, but they call themselves Rex Invictus or whatever, right? This guy said he's just a misunderstood Nazi dad.
Isn't it illegal to name your kid certain
You can name your kid whatever you want.
I don't think
You
that's
can't
true.
name him. Well, he named his kid Adolf Hitler, so I'm going to assume.
He named him Adolf.
Well, he named his kid Hitler.
I have a lot of friends that...
There's a documentary called Meet the Hitlers.
I have a lot of friends that have Nazi dads, as in they did not see their dad.
At all. Absentee. This guy and his then wife years ago had a kid and named their son Adolf Hitler Campbell. And this guy is just tired of everybody treating him like garbage. All because he happens to love Adolf Hitler.
Does he still stand behind the choice?
He says a person makes a person, a name doesn't. And so
but if you are... The reason that name is a thing is because you love Hitler.
Yes,
right.
you like what he was all
kind of tells
about.
you who the person is.
Mm-hmm.
And people go, I don't think I like you because of how much you love Hitler.
So this guy's whining about people treating him poorly. And this is every like right-wing nut out there is, I have the right to hate people openly and freely. They should not have the right to hate me back. That's when I start crying and whining and blah, blah, blah.
Is he mad because people are giving him
a hard time. And
not his kid, not Adolf, not little Adolf?
But it's not the kid's fault.
I know, that's what I mean. I was...
the kid is now... He's 15 years old, I think, or
so he's still a Hitler Youth.
Yeah, he is. This guy got into the public sphere years ago because he made a big show of the fact that a local supermarket wouldn't do a birthday cake with his kid's name on it.
I remember
right?
that. Yeah.
So you give your kid this ridiculous name that's going to give him a scarlet letter for the rest of his life, or at least until he's old enough to change it legally, which he most certainly will. And everyone else is supposed to accommodate that ridiculous situation. He has 3 other kids that he named Joycelyn Aryan Nation Campbell.
Stop it.
Heinrich Hans Campbell, named after, of course, Himmler, Hitler's right-hand man.
I always thought that was really suspicious that Hitler's right-hand man, his right-hand man was named Himmler. Like Hitler and Himmler, like come on. It sounds like a cartoon.
They're cousins, identical cousins. So he's still in the middle of a custody battle, I guess, with, he said, I don't see what the big problem is. I believe whites should live with whites and blacks with blacks and blah, blah, blah. Listen, there's a lot of people who think that. So that's not the part that sets you apart. It's just a lot of people who believe that aren't naming their kids Adolf Hitler.
My dad had an uncle whose first name was Adolf.
Yeah.
And then when he enlisted for World War II, he obviously didn't want to go as Adolf. So he changed his name to Cadillac, which is the most American sounding. So his Uncle Cadillac.
That's
incredible.
That's an amazing,
Isn't that the coolest story ever?
Yeah.
It's way better than being change your name to Chevy Aveo.
Please call me Cadillac. That is the most American thing I can think of. Listen, the name Adolf, that Hitler guy really ruined it. I mean, there were a lot of guys, German immigrants, obviously named Adolf. When I would go to my grandmother's parish when I was a little kid, there were Adolfs as far as the eye can see. It was largely like a German Catholic parish. A lot of old guys named Adolf. But if you're, it's a fine name.
The first name.
As long as it isn't followed by Hitler, which is what this guy really liked.
I think they should just go by Dolph.
Dolph.
Yeah.
I mean, Dolph Lundgren. Is he an Adolf?
I don't know.
Or is it short for dolphin? Because I was thinking dolphin.
Probably dolphin.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Dolphin Lundgren.
My parents are really into mammals, and well, his name is Hans Lundgren. I don't know why he went by Dolph. But I remember there was an actor many, many years ago named Dolph Sweet. He was on a show called Gimme a Break with Nell Carter. This was in the 80s. He was the crusty dad. And, I mean, he already was dead in the mid-80s, but his name was Adolf. And he was a star of stage and screen. But there were a lot of those guys born in the turn of the century, right? Before Hitler came, where they were like, Adolf is a beautiful name, and we love our small child, and let's name him that.
I'm pretty sure.
So this kid is literally a designated Hitler. That's what they gave him.
Designated hitter looking to get aboard. Sorry about that, folks.
I'm pretty sure no one is naming their child Karen.
Yeah,
well, that has absolutely fallen by the wayside.
Right.
Which kind of sucks because Karen, I think, is a lovely name.
Right.
I dated a Karen, many, many years ago.
That poor girl from the Cake song has to change her name back to Kitty.
She's changing her name from Kitty to Karen.
Yeah.
She's driving a white Chrysler LeBaron.
Those are
How
hard to
could you
find,
not
too.
love that terrible band?
That's so great.
Holy cow. Well, they're coming back to Cleveland. Go see Cake this fall. The designated Hitlers are opening for them, too, so it's on that, I don't know. So this guy is letting everybody know, I have had enough. I am tired of being treated like garbage just because I named my kid Adolf Hitler.
I'm going to draw attention to myself for doing something terrible again.
But think about what an utter waste you have made of your life. What an utter lack of charisma and identity you have when your entire identity is tied up in Adolf Hitler. Like, there are plenty of other people you go, there's modern analogs to Hitler. Not to that magnitude. He's always going to be the OG. But there are all kinds of modern guys you could be like, I like that guy over there. He's all, like Tucker Carl. This is my new son, Tucker Carlson, right here. How do you like that? But for those of you who haven't seen Meet the Hitlers, which is an actual documentary, that's this guy in there. I wonder if it has like a jaunty intro to the documentary.
The Brady Bunch.
Or if it's really somber.
Here's the
I wonder if it's
story of a bunch of Hitlers.
A guy named Hitler.
Wasn't the Hitler sitcom from the 90s or like late 80s? It's on YouTube.
That's My Hitler? I don't know. There was Hogan's
thing.
Heroes in the 50s.
No, there was like a Hitler show.
Springtime for Hitler?
It's on YouTube.
Heil, Honey, I'm Home?
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
It was canceled after one. Oh, this is a European show you're talking about.
Yeah.
It was a British sitcom in 1990. It was canceled after one episode. Adolf Hitler and Eva Braun were living next door to a Jewish couple.
What?
Heil, Honey, I'm Home is what it's called.
What?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
The fact that they got one episode.
But Hogan's Heroes was a very successful sitcom about a concentration camp.
It was?
No, it was about a prisoner of war.
POWs.
Yeah,
But it was during.
war, yeah.
But the Nazis were the
never
guards.
seen Hogan's Heroes.
Hogan's
Heroes was
Yeah, the Nazis were the guards.
Hogan and his fan club when I was a kid.
No, Hogan's Heroes was a very...
The Hogan family.
All the Nazis were
Hogan.
dummies, and they kept, pulling one over on them, and Colonel Klink was always the Hogan.
Yes.
Like, it was...
But the guy who there was a fictionalized show on Paramount Plus called The Offer, and it was maybe 8 episodes. Miles Teller and a star-studded cast about the making of The Godfather. That's what this thing was about. And the guy who produced The Godfather, the main character in this story, was a sitcom writer who had written on Hogan's Heroes, and so that's part of this story. But somebody had to pitch Hogan's Heroes to somebody, and they were like, yes, that's great. Because the thought, like Mel Brooks is always like, well, the reason that you made those things funny is that you were making fun of the Nazis. And that's what's, but
That's
that
not
only,
funny.
but that only goes so far,
Well, what's Springtime for Hitler from? Is that
The
from
producers, yeah.
That's another.
And
is that
tho-
Mel Brooks too?
But
Yeah.
those things were so much closer to actual World War II than now.
right.
But for whatever reason, just the culture has moved so much farther away from it. Not so you'd really notice it, by the way, from talking to a lot of people. I don't know if you've talked to people recently,
Nah.
but there's a lot of people who are on board with this kind of nonsense. You said Heil, Honey, I'm Home is on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it is.
Full uncut episode. All right.
You must be real mad at me, honey. I'm a very, very bad Hitler. Come here, baby.
Don't touch me. You've been late for your dinner every night this week.
So it's like the honeymooners, but Hitler and
Right.
Eva Braun. You've been late for your dinner every night this week. All right. Well, there you go. For those of you,
What?
they give me some money here. It's $1,000. It's a courtesy of the Buzzard Bookie. Listen closely and good luck.
This is your chance to bet with the Buzzard Bookie and win $1,000 now. Enter this nationwide keyword at WMMS.com. Grand. That's grand. Enter it now at WMMS.com.
Hey, congratulations to, and I don't know if we have a bureau chief there or not. It sounds familiar. The town of Chester, Virginia. We have people who listen to the show on iHeartRadio.
Wait, where?
Chester, Virginia. It's the site of the first ever U.S. Lego factory.
What?
Going to start making Lego right here in these United States.
That's
No
pretty cool.
more getting them shipped overseas. Because the wild thing, if you know anything about how they ship Lego, is they have to build the boat out of Lego. And then they pour all of the ones. And then when it gets here, they have to disassemble the shipping containers.
Pour them in.
They pour them all loosely in.
Yeah.
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 And the guys who work on the boats have to wear these thick-soled shoes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they don't
Not
hurt their
boots
feet.
made
Otherwise,
out
they just
of Lego?
constantly
It's a
be in workman comp claims.
They're always
It's just,
screaming and yelling and
it's a
cursing
lot.
and right.
Most injuries ever.
So they've broken ground on the first ever U.S. Lego manufacturing facility in Chester, Virginia. It's a $1 billion, 2 million square feet site.
Wow.
It will have 13 buildings on the campus, and it will be they'll have an on-site solar plant, which, don't know if a lot of people know this, you have to water with some frequency. Hey, let me go to Bud, who's on the phone. Hi,
Aw.
Bud. Speaking of water.
Hi, how you doing today?
Oh, so far,
Bud was my grandpa's name.
come see, come saw. Right. What did you say, babe?
I said
Well,
Bud was my grandpa's nickname.
Really?
Anywho.
Well, actually, it's my real name.
Is it short for anything, or you were just named Bud?
Budrick.
No. That's my legal name. Bud.
Buddington?
My dad's name was Bud.
That's
All right.
awesome.
Okay, what's up, Bud?
Back when I was 17 years old, I saved Robert Crane's life.
Bob
at the
Crane, the
Rolling Acres
actor?
Mall in Akron. Yeah, Bob Crane. I saved his life.
Where were you when he got murdered?
My dad.
You were just delaying the
sorry.
inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah, ain't that the truth?
Yeah. So what happened?
Yeah, my dad and I were big fans of Hogan's Heroes. We used to stay up real late at night playing cards and watching it on the reruns. And we found out that he was going to be doing an appearance at Rolling Acres Mall. So we decided to go to it. Well, we didn't find out about it till the day of the appearance, and he was going to be there till 4 o'clock, and we got there, pulled in the parking lot at 5 till 4. So we're walking up to the main entrance, and I see a guy standing there in a black overcoat. I mean, real long overcoat. Now, this is the middle of summer, and I'm standing there with my dad just getting ready to reach for the handle, and the door opens, and there's two cops, Bob Crane and his entourage. And Bob starts to go between the two cops to go out the door, and I see the guy outside pull his arm up, and he's got a knife in his hand. I holler, "Hey, that guy's got a knife." Right then, they grab Bob Crane, pulled him back. The two cops run out the door, grab the guy, throw him to the ground. They get everybody in the crowd back, and my dad grabbed me, and we headed back to the car. Never heard anything about it on the news, never heard anything. But, yeah, I figure if I hadn't said something, when he come out the door, that guy would have stabbed him. Bam, gone.
Yeah, there should have at least been a photo of you guys on the front page that says Crane's Heroes.
Oh, my dad didn't give him a chance. As soon as I hollered that and the cops grabbed the guy, he grabbed my hand and said, "Let's go." And we were out of there.
Bud, did you ever see that movie called Autofocus?
No.
It's a great movie about Bob Crane. Greg Kinnear plays Bob Crane, and Willem Dafoe plays that dude that he filmed all that sex stuff with, that Robert Carpenter or whatever it was, a movie called Autofocus, because Bob Crane ended up dead because he was into some really crazy stuff. And they still never solved solved his murder or anything. They found him like bludgeoned to death in his apartment, but he and this other guy were like filming all these orgies they were having and all, because he was like this squeaky clean dude on television. People knew him from Hogan's Heroes, but in real life, he was a pretty freaky dude. Mm-hmm. And he lived in Scottsdale.
He's not gay. He's deeply closeted.
That's right. They found him in his apartment in Scottsdale and bludgeoned with something that they couldn't determine, and they never found out who killed him.
If I get bludgeoned, I hope it's to death, because otherwise it sounds like you're just going to have a bad life.
I'll tell you what, man.
Bludgeoned
If you
with
get
something they never determined.
But if your skull's crushed in, but they don't know what the
undetermined bludgeoning.
Yes, and the last thing you want, to Bill's point, is a half-assed bludgeoning, right? Because then you just wake up with a headache, or you can't.
Or you
don't know what
brain
vowels
damage,
are anymore. Yeah,
Bludgeon head specific.
I think so. I think bludgeoned isn't that skull trauma?
I'm asking you.
I don't think Nancy Kerrigan was bludgeoned by Tanya Harding. That was in the shin. Can there be a shin bludgeoning?
I don't know.
I think you can bludgeon anywhere on the body, but I think it's usually the head.
Is bludgeoning just a dull object?
No. Let's see. Bludgeon.
Yeah, bludgeon is just any heavy object.
Beat repeatedly with a bludgeon.
With a heavy object.
So the bludgeon
or a heavy object.
What's a bludgeon?
They think that he was beat because he and this other guy were always like filming surreptitiously and having people over, and it was a lot of silk robes and lotions and creams and stuff.
So a frozen leg of lamb.
They found a thawed leg of lamb. We still can't figure out with what he was bludgeoned.
Mm.
But they think he was bludgeoned with a camera tripod. But they never found the killer, and they don't know. Again, it sounds stupid every time I say it. I just don't know how people were getting caught with murder before DNA. I just don't know how anybody was ever convicted of murder.
Fingerprints.
Fingerprints? You wear gloves. Game
Not
over.
if you're having an orgy.
Listen.
You're the one guy on tape with gloves.
Better safe than sorry. Don't underestimate a gloved orgy. You know what they say, no glove, no love. That's what they're talking about. That's why everybody's walking around, because you don't know when they're going to be handing out the hot dogs, and you want to make sure that you got those white gloves on and you're looking sharp.
Stupid. This thing.
No, come on. Handing out the hot dogs is the best part of the orgy.
I thought it was the best part about wearing gloves.
All right, I got to take a break here. I will have Guardians of the Galaxy 3 passes for you. You want to go see Floggy Molly? I'll have those for you later on, too. And get some Guardians tickets on deck. We'll talk to